Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse podcast. This is episode number 512. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today, we've got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going pretty good. Pretty good. No complaints. No complaints over here. How about you?
Yeah, no complaints.
All right. Nice. I feel like it's been a while.
It's been ages.
It's been a while since we chit-chatted about movies. We got a big one today. We're going to be talking about Twisters. And we're also going to be going over some of what we've been watching on the watch list and this week's new releases in theaters, VOD, Blu-ray, all that fun stuff. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's go ahead and jump into our review of Twisters. This is directed by Lee Isaac Chung. I have a synopsis here. A retired tornado chaser and meteorologist is persuaded to return to Oklahoma to work with a new team and new technologies. This stars Daisy Edgar-Jones, Glenn Powell, a bunch of other people. Kevin, we'll start it with you. What were your initial impressions of Twister?
Twisters, gotta say, it's much like the first Twister, right? Like, I'm just here for Twisters.
Yeah.
Okay?
You just want...
That's the name of the movie.
You just want those little whirly wind things.
Exactly.
Little whirly wind cones.
I don't even care about script. You don't need a script. You're telling me the movie's called Twisters. You better deliver on the Twisters front. Okay? And it delivered on the Twisters. So, what complaints can I have? You know?
What else could you ask for, really?
Exactly. I wanted Twisters because that's what you said it was. And then you gave me Twisters. What more? What more do you want? Right?
And
I gotta say, this is I think the second time I've been to the movie theater this year, outside of Dune 2 being the other time. And it was a new theater too. New theater experience.
Yeah.
And I had an absolute blast.
Nice.
Fucking
Great.
Blast.
I had a really good theater experience as well. It's been a very long time for me in the theater too. And yeah, like we went to see it called like RC. We went to see it in RC. I think it's called RC Cinema or something. And it was like this RC Extreme format, which I gotta say was a little disappointing. I mean, It was basically just a Dolby theater. Okay. Like the screen was a little bigger, and they had the Dolby sound in there, and then they had these like they call them butt kicker seats or whatever, and it's just like subwoofers in the seats. That's it. Okay. But I will say that it did enhance the experience of seeing Twisters, especially in those really exciting big moments when like the whole theater is shaking and rumbling. It was fun.
Oh yeah.
I liked Twisters. I thought it was exactly what I was hoping for and exactly what I was kind of expecting as well. I thought that it would be competent. Like I had confidence in Lee Isaac Chung and his directing, even though I think that at the onset it seemed like a weird choice to have him directing Twisters. In hindsight, after seeing it, it kind of fits. Like I was thinking about Minari and like comparing that to Twisters, obviously not from like a content perspective, not from like a narrative perspective, but just from like a visual perspective. And I think that they both had a very similar aesthetic. So I can kind of see why he might be tapped to direct this movie. This movie is very focused on Middle America. Like it is steeped. It's drowning in Middle America.
Yeah, and I think he does a really good job of like adding a little bit more to it in terms of like, yeah, it's Twisters. You're getting Twisters. But of, actually showing the aftermath of the Twisters and the impact that it has on people's lives. I think a little bit more so than the original Twister did.
Yeah.
Or at least it felt that way.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Human approach to it.
I did rewatch the original before going to see this, and yeah, like regarding the cleanup, the aid, the human aspect of it. The original didn't really get too deeply into that. I mean, there were like, there was obviously scenes of like the aftermath and all of that stuff. But, and obviously like Helen Hunt's character, her motivation with the whole thing was that her father was killed in a twister. But this movie makes a point to show the storm chasers giving aid to those affected by the storm. And that's definitely something that did not happen in the original.
And the only thing that happens in the original, which I'm glad that they avoided in this one, because it almost got set up where I thought it was going to go down kind of the same road as the first one. Because the first one, the only reason that they did it really was a narrative choice with what is that, Helen Hunt's aunt or whatever. Like, of course, the twister hits her small town and they have to go and save her. Where here it was kind of set up and I was like, oh, shit, like she's going to have to like end up going to her mom's house, right? But I'm glad that they avoided that because they kept it more so in line of just the non-related people in the towns. And also, I thought was a better choice.
Also, it made them more sympathetic characters too. Like the fact that when they saw that the big one was heading towards that town, they were like, oh, they were basically like, okay, we got to stop what we're doing. We got to go help this town. And I liked that aspect of it too. I think that did add a little bit of dimension to the movie, and it didn't take away from any of the fun or the the comedy moments or anything like that either. So, it was still a good time overall. I will say a lot more people got killed in this one than in the first one. That's for sure.
Yeah, I gotta say that opening sequence, it kind of took me by surprise. I was not ready for that.
I was really surprised by the opening sequence of this movie. Did not expect that at all. But yeah, man, people getting sucked up and killed by these twisters a lot more than in the original one. So that's one key difference. I like that. The other thing that I was worried about with this one is that I thought that they were going to do some kind of ham-fisted connection to the original. Like, the main character is the daughter of Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt. I thought that that's how they were going to go with it. Daisy Edgar, I think I mentioned Daisy Edgar Jones, or like Glenn Powell, like one of those two was going to be related to them in some way. And they didn't do that. And I'm very glad for that, because I'm kind of tired of that trope where, you're linking the new generation with the previous generation in a way that like doesn't really matter at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad that they just kind of did like little nods to the original.
Yeah, like they,
worked out much better.
The opening scene that you'd mentioned, they're using one of the Dorothy systems that were prominent in the original one to take the stats for this experiment that they're trying to do to basically kill tornadoes. And the funny thing was, like, the whole premise of the first Twister was like, we got to get this thing working because this is going to change everything. This is going to save so many lives. We get this off the ground. And then by the end of the movie, of course, they do. But it doesn't seem like it actually made an impact at all, according to Twisters.
Yeah.
So they failed. Bill Paxton and Helen Hunt, they failed.
In some ways, yes. They sure did.
They didn't fail the audience, though.
No, they didn't. Not at all.
I also like that, like the first one, this has two main groups of storm chasers.
I do like the twist that they put on it.
Yeah, like the fact that, so like Daisy Edgar Jones' character, Kate, she goes to work for basically the bad guys. And so it's almost like kind of they kind of flip it a little bit. And there's a lot more that happens with that I won't really get into, but I like how they did that too. I thought that was cool, especially because like Glenn Powell's crew, they were far more interesting as characters. So I'm like, I really hope that we get more time with these characters rather than the what was the name of the like something stupid like
Stormpar or something like that.
Yeah, Stormpar. Yeah,
what the
like
fuck?
all those people were so lame.
Name. And that's the only thing. Like I understand it for narrative purposes, right? And I do initially like it, right? How they kind of flipped it and they kind of tweaked it a little bit. I did find that slightly interesting. But as soon as Glenn Powell's team shows up, you're just like, well, fuck, let's kill this.
Let's just
Stormpar. We can kill this.
Let's just switch to these guys. They are far more interesting.
That we have to like slowly work our way to Kate and Tyler getting together or whatever, or working together. But just fucking cut it. Just cut it. Just have them join up immediately.
I do, as a nitpick, I will say that I thought we spent too much time with Stormpar. I was really ready to move on.
I gotta say, not only the Stormpar thing, but even Anthony Ramos's character Javi, to a certain extent, like they wouldn't let that character go, and it was kind of weird.
It was like this. There was like a love triangle sort of that was happening here, and it didn't. I don't think it added.
It was so awkward.
Yeah. I don't think it really added anything to the plot. So I don't know.
I just found it funny. There's the stereotypical scene at the end with Kate and Tyler. Like that send off talk, and then Javi's just standing there.
Yeah. Hey guys.
It's like. We get it. Like, just have him go away. Get in the car.
I liked Maura Tierney's character a lot as the mom, Kathy. Thought she was really great in this.
I enjoy anytime she shows up.
Yeah, she was great.
Maura Tierney.
The other thing is I really liked the storm moments, the action sequences. I thought that they were really well shot. They were exciting. They were fun. I like. They added a couple things to this that to differentiate it from the original. I think that the original still maybe has it beat with some of the scenes, like the scene when they drive through the house and stuff like that. Like I feel like those scenes are almost iconic at this point. So I guess I still prefer the original over this. Overall, I still prefer the original over this, but. I thought that the action scenes were really cool, like when the storm hit the oil refinery or whatever that was, and I like the whole concept of Glenn Powell's team being these like really like kind of wild, almost like Jackass style storm chasers.
Yeah, but they're not like dumb.
No, they're actually. Nice. They're scientists, but they're still like kind of wild. They're a little bit more wild than Helen Hunt's crew in the original, and like the fact that they have their truck kitted out to like withstand being inside of a tornado. Yeah. I thought that was really cool, if not a little far fetched. But I mean, it's Twisters, so you're gonna have some of that.
Oh yeah, because I mean, I want it to be far fetched, It's Twisters.
Yeah, at least a little bit,
Yeah, like I want it to be ridiculous.
Like you can have science in there. I don't, you can have your meteorologist facts and stuff in there about cloud formations and pressure differential and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, you still gotta have like. They explain it away by being like, "Oh, this is a once in a generation event," where it's like there's like 35 tornadoes that drop down every day. Like there's just so many of them.
Just take your pick. Look at the Doppler.
Look at the Doppler. There were I mean, they do call it Twisters, so. There are multiple times where they have to choose between like one or the other and figure out which one is gonna be the most dangerous.
And I mean, they do some like expedition dumps, where they're just like doing all the science stuff, which normally that kind of bothers me, but here, like, I don't really care because I don't understand any of it anyways, and I just take their word for it. They're just saying shit.
Yeah,
that's like, I have no idea.
And they had that Ben character, the reporter. They had him in there to basically act as the audience, where they could do exposition dumps to him to make it make sense. That they're explaining this to this guy, the outsider.
Because I will say, like, storm-wise, going back to the point that you made, I think I actually prefer the storms in this one to the original. And one of the main reasons being, like, the sound design of the storms.
Oh, yeah.
I think they just did a better job of, like, twisters. If you've ever, like, listened or watched videos of, like, actual twisters, like, tornadoes sound fucking creepy as hell. And I thought this movie really captured, like, how fucking disturbing they sound.
Yeah, the sound design is really good in this. I mean, they do a good job of making the twisters almost a character, one could say. It's like an antagonist. At one point,
titular character?
Yeah. At one point when they're like discussing it, they're in the barn and they're like, we gotta stop these things. It made it feel like we were watching like Jaws or like, like a creature feature where they're like, we have a plan. We're gonna kill this thing.
We're gonna kill these fucking twisters once and for all.
Mankind is sick and tired of these goddamn twisters.
They're gonna start fighting back.
Time to take the fight to them.
You're gonna hit it with some damp rid.
Silica beads. Good time. I had a really good experience with it. I went to see it with my dad too, which was nice because I saw the original Twister in the theater with my dad. So that was a cool experience too, to come back almost 30 years later or whatever.
Yeah. No, I mean, like I said, I wanted twisters. He gave me twisters, and I had a hell of a time. Like, I don't really have many complaints.
I think we're going to see a lot more of Glenn Powell. I really do. Between Hitman and now Twisters, I think that he has proven himself as, leading man material. And I hope to see him take over some of these Chris Pratt roles. I feel like he could take over some of those.
Yeah, I agree. I like that. Yeah, if he could take like 25-30% of the Chris Pratt roles.
Yeah. We don't want to just have a switcheroo and be nothing but Glenn Powell.
Yeah, we can't have that because then we just have a new Chris Pratt. Even though he's better than Chris Pratt, you're gonna start hating Glenn Powell. You're
gonna get palled out.
Exactly, 100%.
All right. Anything else you want to add about Twisters?
No.
Cool. Let's go ahead and give it a score. What are you gonna give Twisters out of 10?
I'm gonna give Twisters a 7.
I'm sitting at a 7 on this one as well. A good time. Check it out in the theater if you can see it. Maybe if your drive-in if you have a local drive-in that's still open, check it out there. That would be, I think that would be a really nice experience. All right, let's talk about some of what we've been watching. It's been too long, and I don't remember who started last time. I'll go ahead and start it. I caught up with the Beverly Hills Cop movies. So it turns out that I never saw parts 2 and 3 because I totally did not remember anything about them. So those were first-time watches. The original is still incredible. Like, I had such a great time going back to that movie. And part 2, I liked almost as much as the original. I thought that part 2 was amazing. And then part 3 was a total piece of shit.
Oh.
That's the one that was directed by John Landis. Didn't even feel like a Beverly Hills Cop movie. Felt like a John Landis movie.
Huh.
It was dog shit. Total dog shit. Then I also saw Beverly Hills Cop Axel F, which is, the new one that dropped on Netflix, directed by Mark Malloy. Not sure who that is. I think he's a seems like a new guy. But the new one is actually pretty good. I had a really good time with Axel F. They did a really good job of capturing the look and feel and vibe of the first two. Like visually it looks like that. If you remember the original one, like the first one, it takes place in Detroit at the beginning and throughout. Well, I guess the second one begins in Detroit as well. But there's this like kind of griminess to it. Like it's got that 80s grime. And I think that they did a good job of sort of still capturing that in this one. I don't know if it was like shot on film or what, but I liked that they tried to keep it a similar visual tone as the first two. And it was funny. Like it was a really good time. So I can definitely give Axel F a light recommend. You can check it out on Netflix.
Looks like Bronson's back.
Yeah, they got Bronson Pinchot back. He was in the first one and he was in the third one, and they brought him back for this one as well, and he was great.
Judge Reinhold in there?
Yep, they got everybody back. Yeah. I can't remember the other guy who was Judge Reinhold's partner. Even he came back. Yeah, so it was really, this was kind of the proper third entry.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I watched Furiosa. Mad Max.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Got caught up on that. Yeah, I liked it. I mean, couldn't help but also feel like as I was watching it, because it feels really similar to Fury Road, where I was just kind of like, probably just watch Fury Road though.
Yeah.
Like
it definitely, for me, it didn't hit nearly as hard as Fury Road. And I think that and I think that might be doing a slight disservice to Furiosa, and that's just because when Fury Road came out, like it was like a bombshell. Like we hadn't seen anything like that for such a long time, and it was just such a new, incredible thing. And Furiosa is like kind of the same.
Yeah. And I mean, I get it because like you're kind of hamstrung with that world, right? There's not a whole lot different that you can do outside of what you did in Fury Road, right? Like it's a desert wasteland. So you're just kind of doing a rehash, which it still works. Like it's still a good movie, but I don't know. It just felt kind of like a rehash, not as good.
And also
Hemsworth was fun, but
yeah,
it also just feels like they couldn't do what they did with Fury Road because they completely fucking wrecked that desert, and they can't do that again. So they're kind of limited, even more so than they were before. So
yeah, a lot of people were criticizing the overuse of CG in this one, and I can kind of see that. I still thought it was visually incredible, but
yeah, I thought the action sequences were still pretty. And I appreciate it because I'm like, okay, they had to do this because they didn't want to fucking ruin a desert like they did before. I can get behind that. I'd like you to not ruin natural places to make movies.
Yeah, agree. Cool. That's Furiosa. Sounds like maybe a light recommend from you.
Yeah, definitely a light recommend.
Cool. I saw the Bikeriders. This is the Jeff Nichols one. I don't know. I was kind of hyped for this one because I like 70s biker movies, and this is not really that. I didn't know that this was actually based on a true story, but it is. It's based on a famous book of photography. This guy went around interviewing and photographing members of this motorcycle gang in the 60s and into the 70s. And it's fine. Like, it's kind of exactly what you might think of, where it's like dramatic rise and fall of this ragtag group of motorcycle guys. Also, they kind of like didn't really explore the fact that these guys were probably Nazis. Like they were probably, because like a bunch of them had like the Iron Cross on their jackets and stuff, and these guys were probably racist pieces of shit. But like we're supposed to like them and find them endearing, but they're probably racist pieces of shit. So I kept thinking about that as I was watching it.
Whatever reason, the poster for this movie, everything about it's fine, but Jodie Comer's, it's just something about her expression and just her in particular on this poster.
It took me so long to get used to her accent in this movie, because when you first hear it, you're like, this is ridiculous. Like, how was she allowed to even have this accent? It sounds so fake and bad. But apparently, like, she had like a dialect coach, and she listened to the actual taped interviews with the character that she played, who's basically the main character. And evidently it was like spot on, but to me, I was like, I just could not get past it. And then of course you have Austin Butler in here, who's, doing his Austin Butler thing where he's, doing his basically his Elvis thing. So he's ridiculous too. And then Tom Hardy, he's over the top too. He's got like, he's doing his like kind of Al Capone type voice. And it's just, man, the only, like, Michael Shannon's in it for a little bit. He's great because he plays this like crazy drugged out member of the club. And Norman Reedus, who just fits right into, a biker movie. So yeah, a bit of a mixed bag for me. I would say overall it was fine, but nothing spectacular.
Yeah. I just have no interest in this. No interest. I watched Smooth Talk from 1985, Joyce Chopra. This is Laura Dern, Treat Williams, based on a Joyce Carol Oates book, or a short story, I should say. This one is kind of tough because early on, Laura Dern is apparently a 15-year-old. She's playing a 15-year-old. She looks like she's 28 years old. So I didn't know that she was playing a 15-year-old. So, and she's talking about her sister in the movie. And the whole, like, say, like, the first quarter of the movie, I'm like, oh, she's talking about her little sister. Okay. I get it. Like, her little sister's, like, annoying and stuff like that. But then it turns out that, no, like, it's her older sister, like, much older sister. And it just threw me off entirely. Besides the point, it's a great movie. But it just, in that regard, it's just super confusing if you don't know that going in, that she is playing a 15-year-old in this movie. She doesn't look like a 15-year-old. Like I said, she looks like a 28-year-old woman. And it's super confusing because she's like hanging out with little kids and she's like 6'4". And everyone else looks like little kids. And you're just like, why is this grown woman hanging out with these little kids? It's weird. That's because she's playing a 15-year-old.
Looks like she was 18. 18 at the time.
18 at the time, yes. But just with her height, it just throws you off.
But also, Treat Williams, I'm assuming he's the love interest, and he looks like he's 30.
Yeah. He's not the love interest. He is a, like, fucking, like, kind of terrifying person.
Okay.
And he just shows up at the end for his, like, little villain role. And, man, Treat Williams plays a fucking great sleazeball. He is. Right. He has, like, this whole scene of just being...
Don't tell me anymore, because I'm very interested in this, and I'm gonna check this one out.
It's a really good movie. Really good.
I love the poster, man. That poster.
Yeah, this is on Criterion, by the way.
That is 80s to the max.
Oh man, dude, it is so, like, Laura Dern and her two friends, like they just love, because it's summertime, right? So they're just spending like every summer day like at the mall, just fucking, flirting with boys. And just everybody's at the goddamn mall. And man, do you get fucking nostalgic, I'll tell you. Because as soon as they hit the mall, my first thought was Electronics Boutique, man.
EB.
And I couldn't stop thinking about EB Games and how much fun that used to be.
Heck yeah. Those were the good old days. It's sad that the new generation isn't gonna be able to experience and enjoy the mall like we did.
Yeah. Now they're just casinos.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
All right. I saw Twister from 1989.
Twister.
Twister from 1989. There's another Twister. This is directed by Michael Almereyda, and it is a comedy with Harry Dean Stanton and Crispin Glover, Dylan McDermott, and it's kind of a weird one. This is like an oddball comedy about this kind of weird family. They live in Kansas, and Harry Dean Stanton he's like the patriarch of the family, and he's rich. Like they live in this really nice big house, and he built a business out of mini golf. Like he has like a bunch of mini golf courses and stuff, and Dylan McDermott plays the kind of deadbeat boyfriend of the eldest daughter in the family, played by Susie Amos, and he comes back to try to like get her out of this house because it's just they're so crazy and weird and wacky. But then, some things happen, like a tornado hits, and they all have to stay inside and kind of shelter in place, and they get on each other's nerves, and there's lots of crazy antics. Crispin Glover is insane in this movie. He's so weird and out there, really fun. I don't know how I feel about this. It's definitely different. Like, it was kind of entertaining, I guess. You're into these kind of oddball comedies, sort of like The Castle. You remember The Castle?
Oh yeah.
And I like The Castle more. I thought The Castle was funnier. I didn't think that this was really that funny at all. It's not very humorous, but it's all right. It's on Tubi. You can check it out there. It's also on Vudu for free, and maybe some other places. Plex too.
I watched a movie on Tubi. It's also on Shudder, Roku channel, a bunch of other stuff. Called Loop Track. Loop Track.
Yeah, how was this one? I was curious about this.
It's not good, but it's also respectable in some ways. Meaning that the large majority of it's just a guy that goes on a hike in New Zealand bush, like this long loop track trail, right? Because I was kind of worried that this was going to be like a time loop type thing.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
It's just this massive trail, like a couple days hike, and they have like little cabins like throughout the trail that you can stop and stay at. So he just wants to be left alone. He doesn't want to be around anybody at all. And then he ends up getting kind of stuck with this guy who just kind of latches on. And then there's another couple. So he's kind of awkward. He wants to be left alone. And now he's kind of stuck with these people. Keeps kind of seeing things in the bush, like in the woods and stuff, but they don't see it. And then towards the end, culminates with you find out what is actually happening. What he's actually seeing. And the whole way up until that point, this movie's kind of dull. It's just, there's not a whole lot going on. The main character, there's not much to him. The only thing that's really going for it is the New Zealand bush is just fucking incredible to look at. So you at least have that. But I will say, once it's kind of revealed as to what he's seeing in the bush, kudos. Kudos for where this movie goes. Because it's pretty fucking nuts. But man, it's a lot of nothing up until that point. It's just very dull.
Okay. I'm still curious. About this one.
It's like, I almost want to recommend it, but I don't know. I don't know if I can. Like, I don't know if that payoff is enough.
All right, cool. And that is Loop Track.
Loop Track.
Let's take a look at what we have in theaters this week. We got Deadpool and Wolverine. That's the biggie. That's the big one. You know, I'm curious about this one. I don't know. I probably won't get the opportunity to see it in the theater just because of the baby, but I am curious to see this one. I think it'll be fun. We also have The Beast Within. That does not really appeal to me. That's pretty much it for the big releases. And on VOD this week, starting with the 23rd, we have The Process. That's capital P, capital R, capital O. So it's like process, but it's process. It's about basketball.
Ah, okay. Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Clever.
We also have Camera. Got Midnight Taxi. Got a pretty cool looking poster on this one. We have The Way We Speak. Got Eddie. Got Bed of Nails.
Ooh. Oh,
look out. 3 Atlanta goth kids cut through rural Florida on their way to the Keys. Camping overnight off-road in the secluded woods, they're confronted by 4 Florida men who plan to just harass and intimidate the kids. Then a gun goes off, kills one of the kids.
Oh, God.
And then they decide that they got to kill all the other kids. You know, how it goes.
Does it say all that in the synopsis? Might as well just tell me the end.
Pretty much. Yeah, it says after a gun accidentally goes off and kills one of the kids, the men must kill the remaining 2. But unbeknownst to them, that one of the kids is a practicing witch and returns from the grave to enact brutal revenge.
Holy shit, this movie has everything. God damn.
Kind of like, I think it's basically the plot of I Spit on Your Grave, where they come back to revenge even. Where they sort of come back to life in a way. We also have Starve Acre. I believe that is like a folk horror, maybe. Like one. It's got a cool poster. But I'm not sure about the movie. Matt Smith is starring in it, and I don't like him. So on the 26th, so Starve Acre's on the 26th. Also on the 26th, we have The Last Breath. Looks like it's a shark movie. We got The Girl in the Pool, The Arctic Convoy. Got Sleep No More Director's Cut. Been waiting for that. Sleep No More Director's Cut. That's pretty much it for VOD. Let's see if anything's dropping on Netflix. We got Non-Negotiable coming out on Netflix. And then see if anything's coming out on Hulu. No. Shudder. What do we got? What do we got on Shudder? We got Humane coming out on Shudder. What about Max? Anything dropping on Max? Nope. All right, let's take a look at what we have coming out on Blu-ray this week. Got Risky Business coming out in 4K. Got The Lady from Shanghai from 1947. Farewell My Concubine from 1993. Fall Guy from earlier this year. Looks like Jaws is getting a bunch of re-releases as it happens every year.
Oh, God, what are you doing? You got to do that before July 4th, not after.
Yeah, I don't know well, the funny thing is that the ones that they're releasing are Jaws 2, 3, and 4.
Oh, okay.
So it's not not the original. Yeah, it's not the original. Let's see what else we got here. Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 3, Arcadian, Confessions of a Serial Killer Director's Cut from 1985, The Strangers Chapter 1, Back to Black. That's that Amy Winehouse biopic that's supposed to be awful. Underground Aces from 1981.
Aces.
Underground Aces. It looks like a teen comedy, maybe.
No.
Maybe? No. It's the escapades of a crew of zany parking lot attendants.
Oh, they'll park your car where the sun never shines. That mean?
I don't know, but I'm into it. I'm into that cover. It's got that kind of classic Police Academy style cover.
It sure does.
I'm going to add that to my list. That's pretty much it. Are there any criterions this week?
Well, there's one, but there's a couple actually. But the first one, I don't think you already said it because you're probably like, "There's no way this is a criterion," but that's Risky Business.
Oh, yes, I did say it, and yeah, I did not. Well, that's weird because like the cover doesn't look. It looks like a normal.
Yeah,
I guess I just wasn't looking close enough at the cover.
Yeah,
the little
hidden.
The little thumbnail. I didn't see the C up there in the corner.
Yep, Risky Business on Criterion for some reason.
I never saw that movie. I don't feel like I really need to see it.
Same. Farewell, My Concubine is the other Criterion.
That's another one I mentioned.
And then, did you mention the Ansem documentary from Wim Wenders?
No, I did not.
Ansem Keeper. That's a Janus Contemporaries. Those are your three.
Cool. All right. I think that's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. And if you could, please take a minute to give us a review on your podcast platform of choice. For Kevin Rake Show, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.